For more than 40 years, the ocean was their home. 4 circumnavigations, thousands of nautical miles. The Schurmann family are legendary sailors who have seen the world from the deck of their vessel. Yet those years of travel led to shocking discovery that changed their lives and their mission.
And we went ashore and the island was covered in plastic pollution. And it was a big shock for us. The ocean is really sick. It's on a hospital and it's almost dying. And if we don't protect it, it is gonna die. And a lot of people asked, so what are you guys gonna do about it? And my parents said, well, we wanna leave a legacy. We wanna do something to change this. We finally came up with the Voice of the Ocean. And the idea of Voice of the Ocean wasn't only to show the problems, but the solutions we find in different places. We know now that almost every single human being has microplastic in their organism, so it's very scary. The industry has to change, government has to change their policies, and people, they have to change the way they think. Each person can make a difference. And we like to say each one can be the voice of the oceans.
In this interview with ALLATRA TV, the legendary Schurmann family shares what they witnessed with their own eyes. Don't miss their story about the Voice of the Oceans mission, to learn how each of us can contribute to preserving life on our planet.
We are here today with the famous Schurmann family. We are so happy that you're having us here today. So your journey has started over 40 years ago, and you have spent so many years on the sea and traveled the world 3 times around the world.
4 times.
4 times.
4 times, yes.
Wow. During your trips, you faced a lot of in the environmental pollution and pollution of the ocean. And today you work with the United Nations, work against pollution and to protect our ocean. Can you tell us how your journey began?
Yes, it's well, we just finished now. This was last week. We finished our 4th trip around the world, and it was a 4-year trip with the Voice of the Oceans. We started the first trip back in '84, so it was 10 years traveling around the world. I was 7 years old at the time, and my parents, it was their dream to sail around the world. The idea was to sail for 2 years and a half, ended up staying, more than 2 years, ended up staying 10 years. And during the trip, they said, okay, how can we do a living working, because they only had money for 2 years. And we started doing documentaries for Brazilian television, ended up doing for National Geographic, Discovery, and it sort of became a living, doing articles as well. And when we arrived in Brazil in '94, my parents said, oh, we want to do another trip. So we did a second trip, which was a different boat. It wasn't this boat, which lasted for 2 years and a half. This was from '97 to the year 2000. And we came back to Brazil and we did several, projects on the coast of Brazil. And then in 2012, my parents called me. I was competing in windsurfing as a professional athlete. They said, look, we want to, do a new trip, but we want to build a new boat. And we want to build a boat that is sustainable and, it has redundancy, that we can do expedition for a long time and, see different parts of the world. So I got involved in the construction. We built Sailing Vessel Cat from between 2012 to 2014. We started the expedition 2014, and it was a 2-year expedition. And during this expedition is where Voice of the Ocean was born. Because we stopped in an island called West Fayou. It's in the North Pacific. It's a small, tiny island between Japan and Papua New Guinea, and nobody lives there. It's an atoll, and you can go around the island probably like in 15 minutes, walk around. Oh. And we went ashore, and the island was covered in plastic pollution, covered. And it was a big shock for us. So we did a sort of a beach cleanup. We put everything in our dinghy, took it to the boat, and then we have a compacting machine. So we compacted, a lot of the trash. And I'll show you after everything that we build on the boat, thinking about sustainability. There's some incredible features. And we compacted the trash and we took it to Guam, to the next island, where it had a recycling center. And we made a video about it, ended up going viral, and more than 1 million views, shares. It was just like really incredible. And a lot of people asked, so what are you guys going to do about it? And my parents said, well, we want to leave a legacy. We've seen so much pollution on the ocean. We've been living on the ocean for so long. We want to do something to change this. So we went back to Brazil in 2016, and then we started gathering all our minds, scientists, marine biologists, people from businesses, so all the students, professors, and we finally came up with the Voice of the Ocean. And the idea of Voice of the Ocean wasn't only to show the problems, but the solutions we find in different places. So we started Voyage of the Ocean in 2021. We started here in the coast of Brazil, did all the coast of Brazil. Pará, where we are now, Belém, was our last state in Brazil. We went up the Amazon River, which was incredible. It was a new experience for us. And then we went to Santarém and came back through the Amazon River to Afuá, and then carried on to internationally, where we've been 4 years sailing around the world and bringing awareness and seeing all the different projects that has incredible impact on trying to fight the pollution on the oceans.
So it's a very special, inspiring place. It's an educational center that is dedicated to the ocean, right?
Yes, the main idea was, okay, we want to give back to the ocean what the ocean has given us so much. And a lot of people don't know that the ocean provides basically more than 50% of the air we breathe. So, we see a lot of protection on the forest, which is great, but that has been like 20 years, the work on protecting the forests. And on the ocean, there's hardly any awareness about it. So we said, okay, we have to do something about. And Voice of the Ocean came to Belém. We were invited by the government, the Pará state government, saying, okay, you guys have to do something for the ocean here. And we wanted to do something that wasn't closed for the public, like the green zone, blue zone, where it's very hard to get access to. We wanted something that everybody could visit. The boat has been open for visitation for everyone to visit the boat. And the Voice of the Ocean house, we have an exposition there. It's an immersive exposition. People can, understand how the trash works, because we like, to say that without the blue, there wouldn't be the green. So everything's connected. The Amazon, we're having the COP here, COP 30, which is happening here in Belém, in the heart of, of the Amazon. And we can see that the Amazon depends of the ocean, and the ocean depends on the Amazon and the forest. So everything is together, the river flows to the ocean. So that's why we're bringing this awareness, and we're really happy to be here and be able to have the boat after 4 years sailing around the world right in front of where everything is happening.
So the last journey wasn't counted on the internet, because I only found through 3 trips, 3 world sailing.
Yes, because we just ended now.
Okay.
So this trip was a 4-year trip, and we did the coast of Brazil, Amazon River, and then we went to the Caribbean, Bahamas. We did all the coast of the United States, almost all the way to Canada, to the Maine in the north of the U.S. Then we went to Bermuda, across to Mexico, Panama Channel, Costa Rica. Yeah, it was a long trip. Costa Rica, across the Pacific Ocean, going through islands like French Polynesia, Pitcairn, Wallis, Fiji, and then New Zealand. And then we had a small break in New Zealand for several months, where we did a big maintenance on the boat and got ready to sail to arrive for the COP 30. So we did we left New Zealand, crossed the end of the Pacific Ocean into Australia, and then Indonesia. We spent 4 months in Indonesia. We met some incredible projects in Indonesia, but also we saw very impact of the plastic pollution on the ocean. And then we went across the Indian Ocean to Mauritius, Reunion, and then South Africa, Cape Town, across the Atlantic Ocean to Santa Helena, Fernando Noronha, which is an island here, is a national park, a marine reserve, and then here in Belém.
So you saw the visible pollution, like the big plastics, but you also warn the public of the microplastic, of the effect on our health, on our bodies, on the animals, on the biosphere. So what is the danger?
Yes, I mean, we have our pillar. We like to say our pillars from Voice of the Ocean is because we personally are not scientists ourselves, but we had scientists aboard. We have marine biologists aboard. Catarina is one of our crew members. She crossed the Atlantic and the Pacific with us. And parallel to what we saw and what we've been, we have a scientific pillar, we have an educational pillar, which is very important. We have an art pillar, and innovation as well. And one of the things we did was trying to find in different places projects that could, that showed what the microplastics are doing to our organism. And we had some incredible studies that, here in the coast of Brazil, in the US as well, in the Pacific. And Voice of the Ocean is not only happening on the boat. We had a scientific project that happened simultaneously on the coast of Brazil. There were 4 women scientists that drove all the way from the south of Brazil until Belém, and they collected bivalves, which is mussels and oysters, and they collected in each place they stopped. And the scientific research and results are going to be out here, I think on the 22nd. The results are going to be out and showing, where the microplastics are and how exactly and how impactful they are in the human body. We had a research in I think it was in Natal, in the University of Natal, that they opened up the fish and showing how microplastic, putting some chemicals and showing where the microplastic would show up on the fish, and it was on the skin of the fish. It was very scary, and this of course affects us. We know now that almost every single human being has microplastic in their organism, so it's very scary. And it's very similar to cigarettes. Before, cigarettes in the beginning was like, oh, it's not harmful, and then once it starts showing how harmful it is, people start realizing, wow, this is really impactful. And that's what's happening now with the plastic pollution and microplastic. People are realizing, studies are coming out each day. There's new studies coming out and proving and showing how harmful they are, and that yes, they are already in our bloodstream. They are in the placenta. They are everywhere in our human bodies, and that's really affecting us.
You see, and you have been around the world actually your whole life. Are there any differences between people, between cultures?
Yes, I mean we see different cultures, but I believe that everyone has the urge to make things better. Most of the places that we've been, we see people trying to make it better, and that's really inspiring. And of course, you go to some places that, people still need more awareness, but most of the places we've been, we see a strong, push trying to change not only climate change, but also the pollution we see on the plastic, on the ocean, especially single-use plastic. I mean, that's just absurd. You open a bottle and you're going to use it for a few seconds and that's it. And that trash, people say, oh, but I threw the trash away. It's never going to go away. It's going to be here for 500 years, So we have to rethink how we deal with our plastic, single-use plastic. We know plastic is an important part, in many things, and in the hospital industry, in the health industry is very important. But in some sides, we look and we say, it's not needed. So it has to be, the industry has to change, government has to change their policies, and people, because a lot of time we blame people, we blame governments and industry, but people as well. They have to change the way they think, and each person can make a difference. And we like to say each one can be the voice of the ocean. So each one of us has a duty that can change, and that's why with Sailing Vessel CAD we like to show how in a small environment you can use, ideas that are sustainable, and your impact, footprint on the plastic can reduce a lot. So that's the idea with Sailing Vessel CAD, and we like to share always, the ideas and innovations that we have here aboard.
And what difficulties did you face on your journey and during your work?
I think one of the biggest challenge is always funding, because when you're talking about environment, it's always hard for the funding. And we like to say we were a startup 1 year ago, and I mean we've grown exponentially. So in the beginning it was very hard with the part of the funding, but once it starts going, people starts believing. We are 100% Brazilian initiative to the world now, but we started very small and we knew it wasn't going to be easy. But now we're really happy with the results, and of course, apart from the storms that we sometimes encounter on the oceans, I believe that the hardest part for us was to go to places that had projects that were impactful in helping our ocean. So that's where we were always going to different places, and even in Galapagos, which is a great marine reserve, we found challenges there that was very tough, for the government, local government, to try to deal. For example, we have a lot of tourists visiting Galapagos, and how do they deal with that trash? It's something they weren't prepared in having a long time ago. And now there's, I don't know how many thousand people visit Galapagos, and it's always a problem, the trash. So we went to all the islands, see what they do with the trash. So it's always a challenge for each place that we see and we face this reality.
Why should people protect the ocean, our environment? What inspires you to do your work?
I think the ocean is the biggest it is the biggest biodiversity that we have. We only have one planet, and it's this one here. I mean, some people want to reach Mars, and we say we got to protect this planet here. So the ocean is such an important part. It's it controls all the air that we breathe. It's the air conditioning of the world, because it controls the climate. And we have been seeing that the climate has been changing drastically. I mean, we can see everywhere storms are getting stronger. We can't predict the weather as we used to. I mean, it just changes very quickly between weather cycles, very unpredictable. So the ocean is such an important part of controlling the climate on Earth, that we cannot neglect it. We cannot say, okay, the ocean is big because we look and we say, oh, it's a huge ocean. And we cannot do that anymore. I mean, somebody here mentioned that the ocean is on the, it's like really sick. It's on a hospital and it's almost dying. And if we don't protect it, it is gonna die, I mean, there's studies already of races that sail around the world, and they took samples to see the microplastic on every little corner that they sailed to, and they found microplastic in every single place. We have been to every place. We went to 17 countries on this expedition, and there was not one single beach that we went that wasn't contaminated by microplastic. I mean, we even like in beaches where you say it's pristine, white sandy beach, wow, what a paradise. And you go to the beach and you look, you will find microplastic. And that's, of course, getting to the food chain, getting to the fishes, the corals are dying. The corals are vital importance for our ecosystem, and they are dying. We went and we saw that firsthand. Coral bleaching is happening in a magnitude never seen before. And it's all happening within the last 40 or 30 years that it's been accelerating, and each year more and more.
This is a family who change to leave a legacy. First, to change to leave a legacy. First, ONG, that is NGO, is Brazilian. That's the first Brazilian. We have many foreign ones, but none Brazilian. So we set up this expedition to go around the world, and we have projects, scientific projects with the universities. We have educational projects. We have a lot of art projects that people are doing arts. And also we have what is most known in Brazil, communication, videos, and all today's social media. And that's what we're doing, bringing awareness. And we did this 4 trip around the world with the boat to bring it to the forest, to bring the ocean to COP30, because the ocean is the center of, now the talks, because before it was just relegated as second plan. So we are very happy that the ocean now is being listened to, and people can listen to the voice that are the voice of the ocean.
As you work with scientists, can you tell us what has microplastic an impact on humans' health?
Yes, they did one trip from Brazil on a car, not on the boat, collecting all the oysters, mollusks from the coast of Brazil up to Belém, 10,000 kilometers, and it's a project with the University of São Paulo. There were 4 scientists, very brave ladies, driving 10,000 kilometers, and now we are going to have it here at the House of Voices of the Ocean to show the results. And I cannot tell you before, because it's still a scientific project.
Okay, and what can you say about the impact on humans' health of micro and nanoplastic?
Well, I have been to Plastic Health Coalition seminars and many others, and we can see that there is already common knowledge that plastic are invading the human body, and all, there is not one place, the blood, the veins, the heart, and the brains, and so it's very damaging, but they don't know yet how damaged it is.
And what people have to be aware of on this topic?
Or people have to be aware that it depends on us to change our ways. You know, like a plastic bottle. I don't know if you visit our house, and a plastic bottle that goes out to the sea and then pollutes, and the fish eat it, and you know, and then we eat the fish, and then we get contaminated. But we have to be aware that our choices make a big difference in our ocean.
Can you tell us about your work with the United Nations?
Yes, we are the partners with the United Nations, and our work is to send them what data or whatever films we collect, pictures of the places, and they support us in all our connections with the COP and all whatever UNOC in this year.
So we have here all our part of our sustainability for the energy. So our renewable energy, solar panels, wind generators, and then we have hydro generators, which is like the wind generator, but it charges with when the boat is moving, because it is a sailboat. We have engines, but only to go into port. Most of the time we are with the sails. And we even have here our garden. There's 2 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have, you can have some spices and pepper, and we have this to show people that we can do it on a boat. So you can do it usually on land, you know. And the part of the boat, when you come through here, apart from the energy, so we have a big battery bank of over 47 batteries, so we can store a lot of energy, and we can go on for basically a week without having to charge the batteries up. So that makes it, you know, we're sometimes 100% sustainable, that we don't need to turn an engine to charge the batteries or anything like that. This is the steering station, so this is where we steer the boat. So most of the time you can steer from here, but we use autopilot. So then we have time to do our research and, you know, look at the weather, see if there's any ships coming and things like that. So this is our navigation table. So this is where we do all the navigation. We can monitor all our energy. So we can see how much we are consuming, how much we're producing, which is very important because, you know, we're producing so much in solar panels with the energy, so we can all control all from one screen. So most of the time the boat is on the autopilot, and which we can control it from here. And then this is all part of our battery to control the batteries, and some switches, you know, to turn lights and things like that. And as I said, the boat was built thinking about sustainability. So we have some features here on the boat that we have never seen on any other boat, which is really, really incredible. I'll show you here through the back. We like to joke. We like to say this is the meditation room. Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, you have a meditation room, but it's not really a meditation room, it's because you spend a lot of time in there. So this is the engine room. We have hydraulic equipment, you know, the engines, but one of the most important equipment we have, it's that one over there in the corner. So that equipment is the water maker, is the desalinizer. So we can produce 200 liters of fresh water per hour. So it takes the salt out of the salt water and turns it into fresh water. And you can do that anywhere in the world. And that's incredible. So we can be on an expedition for 5-6 months. As long as we have food, we'll have water. Very scary in places where people, you know, they capture the seawater and do the filter. We have done here several research and, you know, capturing with the long, socks and special, you know, equipment. And in some places we look in the water was crystal clear. And we use, they call it a manta. You tow it in behind the boat and it sort of looks like a manta ray. And then, you know, has a big mouth and the water passes through. And then on the back, there's a very small kind of like filter, lets the water go out, but microplastics stay in there. And one time it was just astonishing because the water was crystal clear. We were like, no, there's no pollution. We're not going to catch anything. And when we lifted up, it was full of microplastic, full of microplastic. So there's not one spot in the world now that you probably won't, you know, drag a small net and you won't see microplastic. So it's very, very scary. This is very nice as well for the boats. It's very unique. Usually you have on bigger boats, but smaller boats like this, it's very rare. It's our wastewater treatment system. So it treats with aerobic and biological. So it creates, here we have 6 big tanks underneath that it creates basically bacteria to eat up, digest the system from one stage to the other. And when it gets to the last stage, before we discard it, we have to eliminate the bacteria. So it goes through 3 UV lamps, and one pass through a UV lamp will kill 99% of the bacteria. We let it pass more than 20 times. So this is really unique, because a lot of the boats, they use chlorine tablets to kill the bacteria, and that's just horrible for the environment, especially for the coral reefs. And this is our compacting machine. Now it compacts up to 80% the volume of the trash, and that's how we compacted all the trash, especially single use, and then we took it to a recycling center. So you can see how compacted it, the trash stays. So the compacting machine is super important, and we try to avoid when we, for example, now we cross the Atlantic, we stop in Santa Helena, which is an island in the middle of nowhere in the Atlantic, and then after Fernando Noronha, and we didn't disembark any trash on the islands, because we know how hard it is for them to deal with trash.
And did you see this huge rubbish islands?
Yes, we did, and that was in Indo. My mom is the writer. She has 6 books, I think now. So she's the writer. This was from the previous expedition from 2014 to 2016, and yeah, we saw very the most impactful. We didn't see the ones on the North Pacific or South Pacific, but we saw one in Indonesia, which was like the biggest shock I ever seen. We couldn't pass with the boat because there was so much trash you could get on the propeller or on the keel and get wrapped around. So we had to go right next to it, and we said we got to get some images because this is unbelievable. And this was inside a marine reserve, which is very well known, a marine reserve. But this is trash that comes with the current from everywhere, and it goes more than 150 kilometers on a line. And the thing is that you look at the trash and you think it's only on the surface, the plastic, and then you go underwater, and we have these images. You go underwater and you start seeing the layers and layers.
It's only the top of the iceberg.
Exactly. And we were diving, doing some snorkeling in beautiful coral reef, and then suddenly the current changed, and at one point we were like literally, like pushing between plastic. We had never experienced that before, because it wasn't a place you were expecting. They say, this is going to be okay. It's going to be a beautiful snorkel. And then the trash just came, and we were just going like this and moving the trash away. It was very, very impactful. So, yeah, so we see, and it's not like we see concentrated island, like a big island. They're more like they get concentrated like in a kind of like in a highway. The first time we saw like major plastic pollution, I think it started on the second trip around the world. That my parents and my brother, I wasn't aboard. They did a trip called the Magellan expedition, which was sailing around the world, rerouting Magellan trip. And they passed an island in the Pacific, in the South Pacific, which nobody lives as well, sort of like the West for you. And they went ashore. And then my brother said, well, there's something funny here. I'm seeing some funny things, and they, colorful things.
What year was it?
This was in between 97 and the year 2000, so it's probably 98. And when they went ashore, they saw from the boat these kind of colorful things, and they were like, well, that's strange. And then they saw all these plastic containers and pieces of plastic that had been washed ashore, and they were, oh my God, we are in the middle of one of the most remote islands in the world. How did this get here? And it already started back then in 98. And so it was very shocking. And we went to, like, for example, Vietnam. Vietnam had most of these islands, whenever they had a package of something, or they had a basket, it was all made of weaves, of coconut weaves or out of straw. And usually, they would use it, discard it, and it would go back to nature. It would compose by itself. And then once plastic got introduced, they still have that, they used to throw it out, and they have no idea that is going to be forever in nature. It's not going to go away, and it's going to pollute. So it was very impactful.
Do you work together with university scientists here in Brazil? Or?
Yes. We have several universities. The University of USP, that did this project going up the coast of Brazil with the scientists, with the 4 scientists collecting the bivalves. There's several other universities, so we work with 3 or 4 universities, and we're trying to do a global thing as well for universities to share the information, the data. So for example, we went to New Jersey Institute of Technology and we visited, they were researching how they could use microplastic or plastic mixed with glass and mixed to make concrete, because it's one of the, concrete building blocks of concrete, and making concrete is one of the most, the biggest polluter. So they saw how they could lower that impact, and they were doing some tests on mixing it, and it was pretty incredible.
What do you think? How would you describe the role of the science on this topic?
I mean, super important. Each year we have been seeing that science has been kind of a lot of people not losing their, not their faith, but their belief in science because of misinformation. So we've been seeing that more and more. And I mean, the science, it's science. It's not wrong. Most of the science we see is like, it's undeniable, about what is causing the climate change, what's causing the pollution. And we have to believe more on the scientists, and we see each day like people saying, oh, but this is something that doesn't exist. They just created it. And I mean, even the flat earth, nowadays people believe that the earth is flat. We've been around the world 4 times. We know it's not flat. So we see these beliefs, and more people having these fake news, and it's, so we have to believe more in scientists, on the scientists and on the science. And they are the ones who are making a lot of progress in seeing what we can do and how we can change. So it's a matter of, that people have to kind of adopt that and change the policy and change our everyday life to make it better. Basically, we have 4 cabins on the boat. So on the back, and then 2 more on the front. So the cabins, each one of them,
cozy.
Yeah, you see each one of them has a name of a sea creature. So the balea is the whale, and then we have the dolphin, we have the albatross. And this here was a friend of ours. He's a plastic artist, and he got bottle caps, and then he made these templates out of recycling plastic. And so he cut the designs of each of the rooms. Here we have 2 more bathrooms and shower, so we can take a normal shower here on the back. And on this side here, you can see that when we are sailing, we heel a lot, right? The boat is moving, it's a sailboat. So we have these, so you can sleep and then you can lean on it and you're not gonna fall out of the bed. So each bed has one of them. We put it underneath, but each one has their own little hook to hook up, and so you don't fall out of bed. So it's cozy, it's small. The water line for where we are now with the knees is where the actual water line is. So all this is underwater. And Sailing Vessel Cat has a feature which is really incredible, which is the lifting keel. So the keel is what gives the counterweight for the sails, because if we didn't have the keel, the boat would tip over. So we have a lot of weight. We have 27 tons on the keel, and that makes the counterweight. But it has a very big draft, we say. It goes very deep. It's 5 meters underwater. So we wouldn't be able to go in shallow places. But we have a hydraulic keel, so we can lift it up. And then we stay with 2 meters, so we can go into places where usually boats this size can't go. So this is the cylinder for the UV lamp, for the water treatment, the wastewater. So it goes through 3 UV lamp. They're inside a crystal glass. And then there's a silicone sleeve that cleans every day the crystal glass. So, it stays clean and it has contact of the liquid with the UV. And there's a circulating pump, so it goes in through there and comes out through there. So this is Erica. She is the first mate, my partner. And she came in as the cook, but now she's the first mate. She can sail the boat alone. And basically, we're both of us always taking care of the boat and make sure we are ready for the expedition.
So my name is Erica. I'm Italian. And now it's going to be 10 years that I'm on board. On the 18th of November, it's going to be my sea birthday. I'm very, very happy.
Congrats.
Thank you. When I arrived here, I never sailed before. And so they actually really teach me everything, sailing and diving and now navigation and everything. And also to take care of nature. I've been learning a lot during these 10 years. So I'm very, very grateful for this boat, for this family. And yeah, so
now you're a part of it?
Yes. So I want to show you the rest of the boat. Here there is a little bit of the story of the family. So this was the first circumnavigation. So Willem, the captain that you have been speaking with, he was 7 years old. Wow. And so when he arrived, he was 17. And it was 10 years of doing the first circumnavigation was 10 years and was the first Brazilian family to complete a circumnavigation around the world. This was the second around the world with Catchy. The name of the boat is for her. So
She's the daughter of...
she was adopted. Yeah, so she's the daughter adopted. Yes. This is the third around the world. And now we just finished the fourth of the family and the second of this boat. So just last week, we arrived after 4 years going all around the globe, and coming back to Brazil was very special, and we are very happy to be here again. We have here a little movie theater, and the projector is hidden here in a kind of 007 place. So we can project the movies and everything. And here we have a little library with books from the family and books that we have been exchanging during the trip. So this for me is the most beautiful kitchen in the world. I love it so much. It's 10 years that I'm taking care also of this area, and it's very well thought because it's big and you have space to work. You can even work in 2 person, no problem. But at the same time, when we are sailing, if I open my base here, I don't go anywhere. So I can work safely, even when I'm shaking a lot, still can do it. And then here I have my dancing stove. So yes, so he has to do it because he has to follow the movement of the boat and to be able to work safely when you're cooking. And I also have these little arms that hold the pot in place. Then this one is my favorite window because when we are sailing and we are laying on this side, I can see underwater. So I say that sometimes I have an aquarium kitchen, I love that. And here you can see the sail and the mast. So which is very important when we are sailing in just 2 person and I'm on my watch or he's on his watch. Even if you are here, you know what is happening outside. So the place where we separate our trash. So here I have paper, I have plastic, and I have metal. And once it's full, we go to the compactor machine that Willem showed you before, that compacts up to 80% of the volume of trash, which give us lots of autonomy. So we went in Indonesia for 4 months. That is full of islands. We never disembarked our trash because we don't want to give them another problem. They already have enough. And with this system and the compactor machine, we are able to actually do this and to choose where we want to disembark our trash and where we don't want to do it. So that's very nice. This is the only sailing boat in the world to have this machine. It's a bottle crusher. So you put a glass bottle in here and it turns into this glass sand, which you can actually touch, which was very important for us. It's glass.
Okay, and you don't get cut.
You don't get cut. That was fundamental for us because there are lots of this kind of machines, but this one is safe and you can fit up to 300 bottles. From 200 to 300 depends on the size of the bottle. And you can use this material for many, many things. So you can use it for making glass again. You can use it for making jewelry. You can use it for making bricks.
Building.
Yes. Here in Pará, one of the artists that made the art in front of the Voice of the Ocean house is gonna make a collection of bio jewelries with this, inspired by the Voice of the Ocean. So we are very excited about it. And this is a bit of what we do. I mean, showing solution and showing that if it's possible to have these solutions in a 24 meters that shakes all the time, it should be possible in land as well, and it should be more available for everybody, because the technology and the solution are there, already there. We have just to share them and to make them public.
Okay, now.
Just 1 second. Okay.
Like this or?
No, like this, yeah. Oh, there you go. That's it. Super quick, super efficient. That's what we do is we wait to have a full bag and then we do it at one time because in 40 seconds you do a full bag of glass. Yeah.
So my mom is the writer. So this was her first book, and then second book, third book, the other one that I showed them, that's myself. my brother, me there. So yeah, it was. I was back in '84 when there was no plastic pollution on the oceans, and then we started seeing the changes. Yeah. So we went to school in several places, depending on the place we went with the, had to put lava lava. This was in Tonga, we went to school, French Polynesia as well, New Zealand, and yeah, so different.
This is your father, like a cook here?
Yes. Yeah, he's, that's him cooking there. He does his famous spaghetti, so he does his famous spaghetti. And that's my mom. We usually have a lot of kids that come down from schools with, we do a lot of singing. So yeah, and this one we arrived back in '84 in Brazil. And then there's several other books, and yeah, so my mom is the writer of the family. Yeah. To help protect the ocean. Each one of us has that duty, and can make a difference. So it's everyday little things that can help. And of course, we can, choose our leaders wiser, because they are the ones who make a lot of decisions. We can, push for policies to change. We can, protect every single day. We see, people doing little things that can make a change. And to protect the oceans, to help. We know we got to protect the forests, we got to protect the oceans, because everything is connected. So I believe that each one of us has a job. We like to say, it is a job, it is a job to make the ocean better. Responsibilities, yes, responsibilities. Because if we don't do it, our Earth is definitely gonna get worse and worse. And we only have, one Earth to live in. And my brother, he likes to say that he's my nephew, which is my brother's son, that he says, Ron, I want my son to be able to see what I saw when I was traveling the world when I was young. And a lot of things, it has changed, And he says, and the coral reefs are dying and the oceans are suffering. So we have to protect the oceans. We have to give, more emphasis to the ocean and, a bigger awareness in protecting the oceans.
What would you like to address to our viewers?
Well, I would like to tell you the ocean is the main part of our life. The ocean doesn't need us, and we need the ocean, because to breathe, to eat, and to live, we need to have the ocean sustainable, clean, and I need your help to be the voice of the ocean.